So, Gray believes in the power of birthdays. Lovely, that's one step above astrology.
It's not astrology.
Yes, the belief that your birthday determines your personality is astrology. I won't go into a huge lecture, but I'll just let Mr. Fry speak for me.
In fact, if you're watching now, and you believe in astrology, you're banned from watching it. You're not allowed, you just turn it over now.
Also, who the hell is this woman? I don't think I've seen her before this. But what's their relationship? Were they so desperate to get a second female character in this movie that they had to shoehorn this poor actress into a thankless role? Who are you? Then we go back to the older guy who... Whoa! Too much mustache! Oh, wait.
That's Mark Jacobson. He's the editor at New York Magazine. He's written for Village Voice. Wait, who's he playing in the movie?
This journalist, Mark. He's actually really nice.
So he's a journalist playing a journalist, interviewing a whore playing a whore.
Well, actor illusion casting has a long and prestigious track record, but I don't think it works well here. The effect is so dull. Not that Soderbergh himself can't do it. I mean, I don't think anyone can top getting 5 sitting U.S. senators to play themselves in traffic. Which reminds me, this film was supposed to have a point, didn't it? Well, there's been a bunch of back and forth between Gray's personal trainer boyfriend, asking us to compare her unrespectable job with his respectable one. For example, the whole can a hooker feel love thread gets us parallel with the boyfriend's workmate, whose client has taken a fancy to her.
That's like the worst situation. I mean, I've been there before, but for girls, it's so much worse.
Well, spend a lot of time focusing on their body while you're both wearing tight clothing, and that can happen.
I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm gonna keep training him and continue to blow him off.
No, blowing him is the last thing you want to do. How's that for a cheap joke?
After that bit of parallel drawing, Gray goes into the only non-swanky place in the film to meet Glenn. Glenn runs the eroticconnoisseur.com and... Oh, wait a sec.
A major character in the movie is supposed to be... an internet reviewer? Oh, this has gotten very interesting.
So he takes her inside and makes her feel uncomfortable.
You're supposed to be a sophisticated escort, I read. You're like a little Schoenberg. I can improvise on it for hours.
Dude, don't ask her to perform her music for you.
Yeah, I'm going to take a bunch of girls to Dubai. You know, everybody there says that the Russian hookers are the best, and I want to convince the Dubai elites that it's best to buy American.
Because, damn it, we will not let those pesky Ruskies take our place. We need to convince those slavery-loving scam artists in Dubai that our hookers are the best! USA! USA!
But yeah, long speech short, this guy's site, the Erotic Connoisseur, is going to take her services and review them. I should point out that the internet reviewer is played by Glenn Kenny, a real New York-based movie critic who used to do regular columns for Premiere magazine. Since Premiere has gone under, it's likely that Glenn Kenny could be running a prostitute review site as we speak.
Do you ever get intimidated by other women's bodies that are in competition with you?
Not at all. I'm very happy with what I have.
Well, if I were her, I'd worry more about how many men like her body because it reminds them of her prepubescence.
Then the first signs of a failing career show when she sees the first guy she was dating going out with Tara, the newer call girl. And she's devastated. She's devastated. Sasha? You remember what emotions are, right?
Fine, I should be fair. The movie is supposed to be understated, and Gray's performance isn't out of place. I mean, it's not like she's a bad actress or anything.
I've spent the last 3 years hunting Stagnetti. What makes you think that you have a chance catching him?
Oh, well.
Now, Gray has managed to set up a week-long session with that LA screenwriter she was talking to earlier, and we see her preparing for it, complete with what might be a training montage before heading out to the country. She comes home and argues with her boyfriend about the job and other such things.
I'm selfish. I bent over backwards for you, while you go out and fuck guys for money. Okay? And I don't do anything. I sit here like a jerk-off all day.
So this scene chronologically comes before the overexposed shots on the plane, but after she talked to the guy on the phone, which was shown after the first shots of the guys on the plane. Believe it or not, this film has a beginning, middle, and an end, but not necessarily in that order. See, Sasha? I can quote Godard too.
So, having pissed off her boyfriend, who was so inexplicably supportive of her before, Gray goes out to the countryside to meet that nice young John she was going to service. But unfortunately, he had a change of heart and backed out at the last second. And Gray acts kind of, sort of upset. Yep, see? She gets kind of, cryish. And to finish off the humiliation perfect storm, Glenn comes back in a voiceover to read his review of her hooking abilities.
With her flat affect, lack of culture, and utter refusal to engage, Chelsea couldn't even dazzle the likes of Forrest fucking Gump. To quote the great sage Jamie Gillis in Misty Beethoven, this number is the nadir of passion. A splendid time is absolutely not guaranteed for all.
Not bad, Glenn, but you left out can't outact a brick wall, confuses gangbang with performance art, and uncanny resemblance to a 14-year-old. One reviewer to another.
And she goes back home, wallowing in informed sadness, mocked even by the hipsters.
Everyone's a critic.
Again, still better music than this.
God, woman, it's like listening to the dying screams of Kraftwerk while they're getting disemboweled by belching Decepticons. Why can't you listen to normal music like everyone else?
Oh, Rachmaninoff.
After that ordeal, she goes back into the city and vents with the client about the critic. And to her credit, she actually displays an identifiable emotion in this scene.
He took a Q-tip. And he asked me to put it on my vagina.
Gray, I've seen you drink your own urine. You can handle a Q-tip. The research I did for this episode was so depressing.
And as Gray ends up alone in New York with only the company of the insanely rich to sate her boyfriend finally lands in Vegas after a very Sopranos-like montage, and there they surround themselves with prostitutes.
Dramatic irony. The screenwriter's best friend.
And here's somebody I'd really like to get to know a little better. So is that iron door always going to be closed?
For most people, yes.
Well, I suppose emotionally distant is as good an excuse as any to justify vacant acting.
I mean, it's not Soderbergh's fault that Gray can't portray any emotion besides horniness. As we're wrapping up, Gray meets with a portly, bearded man at a yarmulke.
But it's very important that you vote for McCain. Very important.
No, we've had this discussion.
The state of Israel must continue.
No, not worth a rant.
So the film's coming to a close, and you're still probably wondering if we're ever going to see Gray do an actual sex scene.
Well, yes. Yes, we do.
And scene. Perfect.
Now, this movie doesn't work as a movie. It does, however, work as an essay.
The Girlfriend experience is anthropological, a cold look at the life of a prostitute in a solely commerce-driven environment. It doesn't glamorize what's basically menial grunt work, and instead it asks us to draw parallels to other more respected lines of work to invite comparison between them. The casting choices are interesting, if a bit gimmicky, and the cinematography can switch between fly-on-the-wall documentary to oniric dreamscape flawlessly, but ultimately the whole thing is cold and distant. It's an interesting experiment, but I think it's a failed one. It's just a series of dinner conversations, mumbled lines, and a plot line cut to ribbons.
But even though the film is such a bore, in places it really does make you build some respect for a person trying to be a self-employed businessman with a website trying to make a career out of carefully cultivating a professional image. Now if you'll excuse me, I have this side project I'm doing.
Hey everyone. Sorry I'm late, I had this other thing I was doing. So how's everyone doing today? Oh, I'm good. So, what's that? Oh no, you need a premium membership for that. Wait, do you want me to do what with my tie?